Become a RealCatholicTV.com premium member. It's all the news that isn't fit to print.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. As we wrap up this week's discussion about the spiritual and psychological dangers of masturbation, we want to focus on one area in particular, that in many ways, masturbation is a type of gateway drug, a sin that can quickly and easily become habitual and open the floodgates for many other sexual sins. Since the mind is so powerful, once it's formed and confirmed in the habit of sin, it's very difficult to break the habit because it has become so ingrained. When the mind becomes habitually fixated, it is regularly open to that which stimulates it. This is true in the case of the virtues as well as the vices. What else are virtues or vices other than habits that either are good or bad? Develop good habits and you will tend to be virtuous. Develop bad habits and you will tend to be vice-filled. Nothing hard to grasp there. Without a doubt, a mind filled with sexual thoughts will begin to look for opportunities to encourage even more sexual thoughts. For such is the nature of the sexual appetite. It is never satiated. It must be channeled correctly and conquered, not compromised with. With the abundance of pornography on the internet, which provides near unanimous anonymity, the soul trapped in the habit of masturbation faces a nearly insurmountable odds that he will become engulfed in internet porn. And when those floodgates are opened, when there is virtually nothing in one's daily life to hold back the poison, a person can become enslaved before he even knows what hit him. Masturbation and pornography, especially internet porn, are intrinsically linked. One feeds the other. That is, in fact, the goal of the purveyors of internet porn, to get a soul trapped by having the man become addicted while making a small fortune off him in the process. This habit must be avoided at all costs, and if you find yourself in it and unable to walk away, you must seek help and counsel outside yourself to hold you accountable on the road to quitting. There are also even larger concerns, however, in this spiritual war other than just the habit. There is the fallout from the habit. For example, if you have fallen in this particular area, you should forego reception of Holy Communion. The Catechism of the Catholic Church makes very clear that this is intrinsically evil. Now, if you're a young man and attend Mass with family or friends and are afraid that a direct question might be thrown at you about why you didn't receive Holy Communion, you can always eat something before Mass and then truthfully answer that you broke the fast. You have a right to your good name, and you don't have to disclose your sins to the world. Nonetheless, you do need to get to confession as soon as possible. Part of the plan to overcome bad habits is to practice good ones, and there are no better habits to practice than faithful reception of the sacraments. And speaking of the sacraments, it is unfortunately the case for a variety of reasons that many priests in the confessional downplay the gravity of this sin. If they do, they are failing their sheep, the souls entrusted to their care. They sometimes say all someone has to do is make an act of contrition and then they can go to Holy Communion. No, the sin needs absolution. The man needs to be accountable and experience the consequences of his action. And this is a very delicate area to enter into a discussion with, but because we have heard some intimacies from priests themselves since we began this series, they also need to go to confession right away, if at all possible, and not offer the holy sacrifice of the Mass in this condition if they can at all avoid it. The sacrifice of the Mass is, of course, not made invalid by the state of the soul of the priest in no way whatsoever, in fact. But for the good of the individual soul of the individual priest, this must be attended to in the most immediate time it can. We all need to pray for our priests because of the high demands on them and the constant particular temptations they face from Satan, who holds them in particular contempt. This could become a trap for them as well. And unlike the laity, they might not have access to frequent confession because of geographical distances or an acute shortage of priests in their particular areas. It is also a sad fact that, like hundreds of millions of the laity over the last 40 or 50 years, Many of them also were given bad counsel in this area, including in seminary, and if they are teaching error, they too might be rationalizing this sin and thereby having their interior priestly lives limited. We're all subject to concupiscence, and very often this sin is an outward expression of something much deeper, an anger or loneliness or something else, and it requires patience but firmness as well. Ultimately, we must seek to vanquish sin as we vanquish all evil from our lives out of love for our blessed Lord. This week-long series has not been intended to humiliate or shame anyone, and we sincerely hope that has not happened. In fact, we've been quite humbled by the large number of emails we have received so far saying, in effect, "Good job and thank you for talking about this. No one ever has." Many people have told us about their own lifelong struggle with this and others of their victory after a long, difficult slog. One fellow even shared with us that now freed from this through prayer and sacraments, that he's enrolling in seminary in the fall. God is greater than any sin or any addiction to any sin. Overcoming sin involves, in many instances, taking stock, personal, spiritual, psychological inventory, looking in the mirror, and making an honest, truthful assessment of where we stand before God in our deepest conscience. It is Satan, your enemy, that wants you to live in the shame or accept that it's no big deal, so you remain in the sin. With regard to overcoming sin in the battle to fight off your adversary, the ancient serpent, especially in the area of sexual sin, perhaps the best words our blessed Lord ever spoke is this simple phrase: "If you continue in my word, you shall be my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." God love you. I'm Michael Voris.
If you would like to purchase a DVD copy of this week's Vortexes, Addressing and Conquering Sexual Sin, please click on the link or visit realcatholictv.com/store.